Well, today we're going to talk about why you don't have to visualize and you don't have to affirm. Whoa! This car bed's going to be a banger. I'm in my garage. If you don't know who I am, look out. I like to say this channel starts where most YouTube manifesting channels end. I've written the books, the best-selling books in the genre. Read those books, you'll see what I mean. Watch a couple of these car vids, you'll see what I mean. If you want a free copy of one of my books, link is in the description. The Law of Attraction Simplified. That book is better than most books you've read on LOA. And you might be like, who is this cocky asshole? Well, I'm just being me, just telling you the truth. The truth of the matter is, I don't think I'm all that intelligent in general, nor all that intelligent when it comes to analyzing and integrating these concepts. But holy shit, compared to everybody else out there that I see just about, I seem like some kind of a brilliant mofo, which is nuts because I'm not. I'm just telling you like it is. And I've been into this stuff for a while. So, yeah, let's dive deep in. This is this is mainly for my peeps who've been with this channel for a while. This is our second video without comments. We're no longer having comments on the channel. If you want to reach out to me, just, email me, info@radicalcounselor.com, or, look at the links in the description. You can contact me. I am a real person. You can actually talk to me. None of this dumbass fucking YouTube comments. I should have turned those off a long time ago. I was talking to ChatGPT more about it. It was a waste of time for me to continue commenting. And I appreciate all the great comments by so many of you over the last year or two. Very, very nice comments. I appreciate that. Understand that the reason I turned off comments is not because of you. It's because of all of the assholes who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I gave the analogy the other day, like a third grader going into like a graduate level class and starting to like throw a temper tantrum. Oh, the law of assumption. Oh, and the law of attraction. Fuck off. Again, if you think like this is any other channel, by the way, if you're new here, you're like, oh, this is like Tom Karen or even Nero or whatever. It's fucking not. Okay? All right. We're going to read from Dollars Flow to Me Easily by Richard Dotz. I'm amped in case you can't tell. Richard Dotz, Dick Dotz, is probably my favorite modern, law of attraction type of teacher. And of all the teachers I have come across, he probably clarifies why you do not have to depend on quote unquote techniques better than anybody. Richard's very consistent in talking about how techniques can often inadvertently hinder you instead of helping you. Your visualizations, your sats, can actually end up making you feel more stuck and make you further away from the external manifestation that you want than you would expect by, again, reading Reddit or watching most of these YouTubers or even reading a lot of these books. A lot of these books, intentionally or unintentionally, make it seem like you have to visualize, you have to do this, or you have to affirm this certain way, you have to say this thing. And, Dick Dotz does a really good job of telling you, listen, you don't have to do any of that. You just have to recognize things are fine right now. And that has always been what really resonated deeply with me when I first found Richard back in probably 2014. I was like, holy shit, this guy gets it. This guy is one of the few people I've seen who links more of this non-dual, Zen, mystical type of perspective with these LOA principles. So, yeah, Richard just is, if you don't know Richard, and you're struggling with feeling like, what technique should I use? Do I need to be visualizing more? Do I need to affirm more? What am I doing wrong? Study Richard Dotz, particularly his earlier books. I've said this many times. I personally like his earlier books that he wrote between 2013 and 2016, 17 more than his recent books from 2020 onwards, which are the No Mind books. I don't resonate with that stuff as much as the earlier stuff. But his earlier books are masterpieces, including this book, Dollars Flow to Me Easily. Easily one of the best books ever written about money. Now, please understand, when we say, like, you don't have to visualize, you don't have to affirm, you just have to assume, or whatever, it's not like that. That's not what Richard's getting at. And it's not what I'm getting at. Of course, you can visualize, affirm, assumptions are part of how this whole thing works, whatever. This is deeper and more nuanced, what Richard is talking about in all of his books. And the excerpt I'm about to read is just going to clarify why you do not have to be using these techniques that do not feel aligned with you. And that often this practice for many of us, including myself, is simply recognizing that you are okay right now. And that there actually is peace, health, abundance available to you right now. And not only is it available to you right now, it's actually already here right now. In other words, what you want, you already have. That's what makes Richard great. Listen to this excerpt. Really, really great. He writes, you no longer need to repeat affirmations or engage yourself in continued detailed visualizations. Of course, you can still continue to engage in them if they make you feel so happy and good. But it is just as all right if you choose to skip them. Know that your good will still flow to you even if you did not do any of the minute planning or asking. If you left everything up to the universe and dropped your feelings of worry and fear, everything good will still happen for you in a way that pleases and delights you. The ego thinks that it has to do all sorts of planning to make things happen. As such, it plans and conceives of even the smallest details. Then the ego convinces us that we have to keep visualizing, keep affirming, or keep holding a mental picture in our minds, such that this mental picture will be brought to fruition. This causes much of the stress and dissonance in most people. They are worried that if they lapse in their practice of picturing their good for even one single moment, that things will not happen for them. Give all of these faulty and mistaken beliefs up. Your good is not dependent on anything that you do. Your good is not dependent on you constantly picturing it in your mind. Your good is not even up to you because it is already here. It exists in the here and now. Any mental picture that you strain to hold only creates unnecessary stress and tension in your body system. Picture yourself amongst a beautiful field of flowers. You are here now. The flowers stretch in all directions as far as your eyes can see. But what if you wrongly believed that you have to picture every single flower in your mind in great vivid detail before they can be there? They would still be there, nonetheless, but your mind would be elsewhere. Your mind would be preoccupied with conjuring up an accurate mental picture and ensuring that you get it right. All your enjoyment would be taken away from you. You have just gone from heaven on earth to hell on earth. You are still physically in the same place amongst those beautiful flowers, but a simple shift of perception has caused the enjoyment of your good to be greatly affected. So don't make this mistake for even a moment longer. Turn your focus inwards and recognize the beautiful field of flowers, the infinite abundance that already lies within. This is going to be difficult to do in the beginning, especially if you have adopted an outward focus for your entire life. That's a freaking unbelievable passage. I don't really even feel like talking after that. That's the whole problem and the whole paradox. Is that we think we have to do something mentally, something special in order to get what we want, while what we really want is already here. And just mentally, we don't recognize it. It's like, you hear this somewhat frequently, like we project lack onto the inherent good that is here. And it's very paradoxical, because what you will find, even if you get very used to integrating these ideas into your life, like me, myself, I was just in this car sitting, just allowing the moment to be, recognize the abundance of right now, the peace of right now, which is not necessarily an ecstatic feeling, and Dots calls it a magic feeling. Sometimes, quite frankly, for a lot of us, for me, it doesn't feel that way. It's just like, I'm here now, I'm present. But there is this peace here, this almost neutral level of peace. It's here. But even though this is such a wonderful state to be in, and even though if you believe Dots or believe so many of these great LOA teachers, that state is one of the more productive, manifestive states you could be in, and that you should, in a way, be cultivating if you like it. Even though that's the case, even for someone like myself who's been doing this stuff for years, after 15, 20 minutes sitting in the car, there's such an inclination from the mind sometimes, a lot of the time, to be like, oh, I should get up and do something, as if I'm not really doing anything right now. It's the ego saying, oh, you have to go do something. You're just sitting in the car. But just sitting in the car, being, is the end goal in and of itself. And if that becomes more of your default, that beingness, Lester Levinson always liked to talk about beingness, right? He was a big influence on Dots. If you allow yourself to be more, the ego might not really know what to do with it per se, but nonetheless, the universe, the more overarching life work that is happening all right now, this life-sustaining force that is carrying through our lives and our veins every moment, that is not ego-based, does know what to do with it, this beingness. It knows how to provide you sustenance from just being. Now, I'm not saying I should stay in my car all day, but I am saying there are many times where I would be more productive and have gotten much more done in a productive way by spending more time in the car and working less on my computer or in the house or in the office than working more, writing more, responding, doing many more external things, but actually getting less productive, creative stuff done. This doing nothing, this recognizing I'm already in this beautiful field of flowers, that I already have the magic feeling, that I never lost it. This recognition of God, if you want to use spiritual language. That in and of itself is the practice, and it also spurs on naturally all these wonderful occurrences in our lives a lot of the time. You feel less stressed because you feel more comfortable just being, and because you feel that way more of the time, you get more of that in your life. This is why, Dots' general recommendation is in many of these books is simply to spend, 10 or 15 minutes 2 or 3 times a day allowing yourself just to be. And to be frank, I don't think that's enough for most of us. I think we need to do it more intensively a lot of the time. If we really want to see paradigm shifts, especially quickly. But even if you just sit on your butt and allow yourself to be for 10 minutes a day, and you were not previously doing that, if you do that for 30 straight days, you will notice shifts in your life. And there's going to be times where you're just sitting there and you're like, this is a complete waste of time. What the fuck am I doing? And that's the ego, which is, again, the ego has a role. It's just the ego's role is kind of like, the ego can't define what to do when you're just sitting there a lot of the time. That's why it sometimes has thoughts like that. But yeah, man, that can be real productivity. Recognizing you're in the field of flowers already, to paraphrase Dots. So you don't have to visualize or affirm anymore unless you want to. And it's very interesting that someone like Neville, he said, especially at the end of his career, I really just assumed the thing once. I did SATs once, and then I just let it go. He wasn't reminding himself constantly, oh, da-da-da-da-da. And listen, there's something to reminding yourself constantly. That can work very well for some people. But the point is, regardless of all this shit, of all this technique, of trying to get this change into 3D. There's abundance right now. There's health right now. There's peace right now. And it's always been here. What Dots and so many of these great teachers are saying is we can simply recognize and relax into it more.